Alright guys, welcome back to another Peppa Pig theory video. Sorry it has been so long, but before we begin, I need to thank Dr. G101, Nancy Dooch, Elmian Spelling, Sui Ching, Hypernate, Planet Pluto, Luca Jovanovic, Lexi Rivera fan, and Chris Master 112. If you would like to be featured in my next video, just subscribe and leave a comment about it. Now let's begin. If you've been a viewer of my videos for a while, you'll know by now that I believe Peppa Pig society is a totalitarian, oppressive, elitist society. If you haven't been watching, don't worry. This break has been a preparation for my next few videos. There will be a series dedicated to fleshing out and detailing Peppa's society, its economy, values, motivations, possible history, and more. Today's video will focus on a very niche but interesting topic: their names. Names are very important to a society. Of course they are. How we refer and think about each other is of utmost importance. Our associations with names can positively or negatively affect our feelings towards people, even if undeserved. How we talk about things generally impacts how we think about those things. This is called linguistic determinism, that the words we use impact how we think about subjects. So what is unique about the names in Peppa's world? First, the adults are not referred to by their names, but instead by their titles. Here is a near comprehensive list of the titles people in Peppa Pig's world go by: Officer, Miss, Mrs., Mr., Daddy, Mummy, Grandpa or Grampy, Granny, Madame, King, and Queen. The only adults whose first names we know are King Alfonso, the king of the unnamed country that the pig family visits, and Aunt Dottie, a pig relative mentioned briefly in the episode Horsey Twinkletoes. Only using one's title emphasizes one's role in society, rather than that person as an individual, which is common in totalitarian regimes. However, I hesitate to go that far, because it could just be that since the show is told primarily as it relates to the children of the town, and children don't often call adults by their first names, they are only referred to by the names that children would refer to them as. But it is still unusual when adults, such as co-workers in the episode Daddy Pig's Office, refer to each other as Mr. or Mrs. rather than their first names. Is this how you refer to people in your office? Even if children were around, as they are in this episode, this would be a strange thing to do. So perhaps this theory is correct, and animals are no longer referred to by their first names in public once they reach adulthood, turning them into cogs in the machine of society, rather than individuals, and dehumanizing, or I guess in this case, de-animalizing them. However, it is alright to do so in private, as you can see when they call Aunt Dottie, because there's no reason, I guess, in their mind to police what they say in their house, and perhaps they realize they won't be able to, probably, unless this society is more controlling than even I realize. But more important are the names of the children. As well established, all children have the names which are alliterative with their species: Danny Dog, Rebecca Rabbit, Candy Cat, and so on. There are only 5 exceptions to this rule that I can think of: Dottie Pig, Chloe Pig, Alexander Pig, more commonly called Baby Alexander, George Pig, and Joey Kangaroo. I will not pretend I know for certain why this is, but I have a few likely theories. 1. As established in my episode on speciesism in Peppa Pig, the pigs are at the top of society. Therefore, they are granted special privileges that other animals are not, such as breaking with the name rule. The name rule makes each species very uniform, but since the pigs are set apart from this rule, they are allotted more freedom with their naming, both as a privilege and to affirm their superiority as a species. But what about Joey and Peppa? Well, perhaps Australia is different than Britain, and there either the government isn't as controlling, or the kangaroos are the dominant species. But more troubling to me is Peppa. Why would the pigs voluntarily name their child something that makes them seem like commoners who have to name their child alliteratively? At first, I thought perhaps the firstborn must have an alliterative name, which explains why Kylie Kangaroo, Joey's older sister, has a name that starts with K. But Chloe Pig isn't held to that standard. If one wanted to go really far with justifying this theory, one could say that Chloe had an older sibling, let's say Peter Pig, who had the alliterative name of the firstborn, but died. I'm not willing to predict that Chloe had an older sibling never mentioned who died just to justify this theory. So this casts a lot of doubt on this proposal. Another theory I had was that this name rule is exclusive to Peppa's town, and as the Kangaroos and Peppa's extended family live elsewhere, they aren't held by their rules. Perhaps George was born in a different town as well. Maybe they had to go out of town to a better hospital. This theory strongly appealed to me until I remembered the episode Chloe's Big Friends, in which Chloe's friends, Simon Squirrel and Belinda Bear, come to visit. So other animals in their town are also held by this rule. Frustrating. This makes me believe the first theory is more likely. But again, it wouldn't explain Peppa's name. Perhaps their parents just wanted to name their kids Peppa and Kylie. But this seems false. I may need a part 2 to get to the bottom of this predicament. However, I mustn't forget to mention the royal associations with the name George, especially in Britain. One of the most famous names for kings was George. There are multiple, such as King George, the third, the fourth, if you get it, okay? One of them was king during the American Revolution, so this is one of the most well-known king names in Britain. And if the pigs are really at the top of society, it would make sense for them to name their kids something after royalty. Just a nice little note. Alright, this concludes this video. I may create a part 2 or even 3 to my names series. I'm sorry this isn't as encapsulated of a theory, but I think the names in Peppa Pig are fascinating, and I'd like to start some discussion about it in the comments. So if you have any theories about why the alliterative names are so prevalent but not complete, please leave that in the comments. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe, and I'll see you hopefully in not too long.